Hi and welcome to SCW here on YouTube.com. Thank you for choosing the channel and choosing the video. Please subscribe right now. Leave any comments in the comment section. Please like and share the video as well. Turning Point Impact Wrestling is this Saturday evening and it's part 2 of the predictions because 4 more matches have been announced for the show. And good news, if you haven't seen part 1, I will add my predictions quickly at the end of the video. But of course, if you want full preview and predictions, that video is available on the YouTube channel right now. But make sure to check out this part first, and of course we're going to go into the new matches that have been announced, starting with Chris Sabin and James Storm, who's returned once again to Impact Wrestling, going to be taking on Team Triple XL. Now of course Alex Shelley is out at the moment, so Chris Sabin without a tag team partner, so we haven't got the Motor City Machine Guns for the time being, but he's got a worthy tag team replacement, of course 2 Impact OGs you can say, and of course James Storm, no history to tag team wrestling, of course a part of Beer Money amongst other tag teams in Impact history, and it's great to see him back. I don't see Storm and Sabin losing on this show. Team Triple XL, they're sort of like that lower to mid-card tag team in Impact right now. James Storm for me feels like the real deal. Chris Sabin just coming off being a tag team champion in Impact at the moment, so I can see the faces going over in this one. I think that revenge comes Sabin's way, Storm picks up the victory, and they can move on to a further on program in Impact. But of course, looking forward to seeing where it will go further from here, especially with James Storm being back in amongst the Impact ranks. Rohit Raju is going to have another Defeat Rohit challenge, which will be going on this show. And of course, he's put TJP in his rear view mirror now because he's beaten him this week on Impact. There is no more going with TJP. He won the 6-pack challenge at Bound for Glory. As Rohit has said on Twitter, who is there left to face? And it's a struggle when you look through the Impact roster. But I'm going to set a question of my prediction who it's going to be. And my feeling is that he thinks he's done with TJP. I don't think he is, because what about a return of Suicide? He's been under that gimmick before, but here's the one I think that it could literally be. What about Manic? Of course, they did the TNA stuff earlier in the year, of course, when the throwback show earlier this year, and Manic made an appearance, which of course was TJP under the mask. I think Manic makes a return at this show, and because it's not TJP on paper, that makes me believe that he will get through and be able to have this match. I do still expect Rohit Raju to escape as X Division Champion. It seems to be the gimmick going on with him at the minute until we find a moment where it feels appropriate for him to lose that championship. I don't think it's quite here. Maybe Rohit, gets counted out or disqualified. Either way, I think it'll be Manic that will be the opponent, and I think that Rohit manages to keep the X Division Championship. And next we've got Tennille Dashwood and Jordan Grace, an unlikely duo, going to be taking on Rosemary and Taya Valkyrie. Now, of course, we've got the Knockouts Tag Team Tournament going to be starting to crown the new Knockouts Tag Team Champions. And of course, Dashwood and Grace have both been wanting to find partners for this tournament. Of course, Grace was unsuccessful having Alicia Edwards. Tennille Dashwood, of course, tried out Madison Rayne this week. Neither has worked, and they both kind of feel that a common goal may be to work with each other. Tennille finally asking Grace if she'll be a partner. Grace unsure if she can trust her. Remember, these two were only rivaling, not far ago as Victory Road, which I believe was like 2 months ago, was the last time these two were feuding. So now the fact that they're going to try and work together as a team, it's an unlikely duo. But I do think they're going to get through this test of Rosemary and Taya Valkyrie. My reasoning for it, Rosemary and Taya are under heavy scrutiny with the Who Shot Johnny Bravo thing. So I think with that going on, there could be unwelcome distractions, maybe interference. Havoc is very convinced that the questions that were being asked to her should be asked to Rosemary. She is convinced Rosemary is the one that's done it. And of course, Father James Mitchell has said it's not him, and he's said that he believes he knows who it is. Is he pointing the direction at Havoc? Is he pointing the direction at Rosemary? There could be some shenanigans in this match, I think is where I'm going with this. I do think that heads for Rosemary and Taya could be elsewhere, and they need to get their heads together if they want to become Knockouts Tag Team Champions. I think it'll be enough to make Tennille and Jordan go for the belts as a team. My only theory with this that I'm against them winning the tournament, not to mention that other promotion, WWE, but there's so many thrown together tag teams there. Impact feels like they actually have some tag teams teams, some friendships going on. Although it's good to have one oddball tag team together, I wouldn't want to see these two win the entire tournament. But of course, we need to get them where a team to get into the tournament to begin with. And I think to build that trust, I think they win here. So for that reason, even though it should really maybe not make sense, they should have, a fallout. Perhaps maybe it should be Rosemary and Ty going over. I think that the heads of Rosemary and Ty are not in the game. I feel that way, Tenille and Grace probably will fluke it. They probably won't get along, but they'll find a way to get a victory and maybe just give them a bit of hope going into this Tag Team Championship tournament. Last but not least for the matches that have been thrown together is Eddie Edwards and Davari. Great to see Davari back in the ring. And Jesus, he's jacked compared to how he was back in the day. But I don't think it's going to be enough for Davari. Of course, he made his return at Bound for Glory, and he was in the Call Your Shot Gauntlet for a short bit of time. But it's going to be good to see him in the ring here with Eddie Edwards. But I feel that this is quite one of those Impact Plus sort of events, and it feels like it's perfect for those sort of lower key events that's going on throughout the year. Rather than being these Bound for Glories, these Slammiversarys, this is a match you would expect on this. This is to put Eddie Edwards over, make him get some momentum going in towards what his perhaps next challenge will be, which probably will be another feud with Sami Callihan, if I'm being honest, going further down the line. So I expect Eddie Edwards here to pick up the victory. Then let's not forget here that there are some other matches that have been put together here at Turning Point, and we've got Rich Swann against Sami Callihan, which of course you've got to keep an eye out for Ken Shamrock. Will he be at ringside assisting Sami Callihan in this match? Does Eric Young still want to see Rich Swann lose the championship? It will be interesting to see how this is going to play out, but what I would say is it's Rich Swann's first match involved here as the Impact World Champion. I don't see him losing it here. So I think personally we're going to see Rich Swann retain here. I wouldn't be surprised because we know that the Rascals are going to be leaving Impact Wrestling. We know they've got one more match with Rich Swann, which is going to be involved next week on Impact Wrestling. Maybe they have one more final appearance here at Turning Point. Maybe they give the assist for Rich Swann. We'll have to wait and see. But either way, Rich Swann for me does walk out still Impact World Champion. We've got the no DQ match for the Knockouts Championship, which is going to be fantastic. I can't wait for it. Su Yung against Deonna Purrazzo. It feels too soon for the belt to drop here from Su Yung. I thought it was too soon for Deonna Purrazzo to lose the championship, if we're being brutally honest. But I do think Su Yung is going to retain here. It's the money match when it comes to the Knockouts. I think this is really the big selling point of this card here. This is one of 2 or 3 matches I think really excites me on the card, and I do think that these ladies are going to steal the show here, and I think Su Yung retains here on this point. Deonna regroups, and I think she'll come back for the championship somewhere further down the line, but Su Yung to retain the Knockouts Championship. I think the North will retain over the Good Brothers. It's just too soon to lose those championships. Perhaps maybe this is not a clean finish. Maybe it's a DQ. Maybe the North steal the win here. Maybe the Good Brothers win the belts in a month's time at the next Impact Plus special, or at Hard to Kill in January. I just feel that at this moment, it's just a bit too soon. It feels like we're building something with these two teams. I'm not quite sure that we're going to get the title switch here. But hey, I wouldn't be surprised. It's another one. It's a dream match, isn't it, with these two teams? I feel it needs some sort of decisive finish after the Impact match we had not so long ago with these two teams, which finished in a false finish. This week as well, we had the same with Josh Alexander and Carl Anderson. Lots of false finishes. Maybe it's another one here, and it leads to some sort of gimmick match that leads to these two finally getting a result and maybe then a decisive championship win. But it'd be interesting to see what happens with these two teams at Turning Point. It's definitely one of those matches I was referring to that I'm really looking forward to. I expect Moose to beat Willie Mack. I mean, I think Moose is now going to be the long-term challenger for the Impact World Championship. I think we'll get Impact versus TNA Heavyweight Championships here on the line. Rich Swann and Moose are hard to kill. So for that reason, of course, Willie Mack, a good friend of Rich Swann. I think this is a building block for something further down the line. I think Moose picks up the victory over Willie Mack. And last but not least, of course, Brian Myers and Swoggle. I think Brian Myers picks up the victory here because, I mean, you can do a good story with this here. Swoggle, he can do the sympathy really, really well. Brian Myers, he's been booked quite strongly recently. He had so many eliminations in the Call Your Shot Gauntlet. It feels wrong here that he would lose this match. And I think both guys can get over with the result of Brian Myers picking up the victory and Swoggle getting the sympathy. So that's the full card of predictions there for you now for Turning Point. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you do like it, please hit the thumb up button, maybe subscribe, maybe share with a friend who likes Impact Wrestling. Keep an eye out as well on the channel. Of course, This Week in Wrestling will be coming up for you, so make sure to check that out on the channel now. And of course, as well as that, we have got the Q&A Ask SCW coming on the weekend. So lots of reasons to keep involved. Maybe hit the bell to be notified when videos are released. Hit that setting to all as well, then you know exactly when each and every video is released. But thank you for watching as always. I really do appreciate it. Take care. Have yourselves a great day. Enjoy Impact Wrestling Turning Point. All the best.